Hi there! Welcome to the Student Success Center Learning Skills and Strategies session, all about discovering your learning style. My name is Leah and I'm a peer success coach, and I'm going to be taking you through this session today, talking about what learning styles are and how knowing yours can help you to study as effectively as possible and to be the most successful student you can be. So before we get too far into it, let's talk about why knowing your learning style matters. So many of us have maybe heard of the three main types of learners before. So we kind of hear of a visual learner, an auditory learner, or a kinesthetic learner. And, we've heard these things before, but what do they actually mean and why do they matter? So essentially, understanding what your own personal learning style is really helps you to just study more effectively, to build tailored strategies that work best for you. It can make studying less stressful and more productive, which we know as university students is very essential to success. So I'm going to talk about those three main learners that we've maybe all heard. So we'll kind of run through them as we're going. Maybe you kind of make some mental notes if it sounds familiar to you, or if it sounds like maybe some learning strategies that you have yourself. So the first one is a visual learner. So visual learners, we are automatically thinking about visual, so seeing something that is like creating diagrams or charts. So maybe really using a lot of tools to help visualize information. So like I said, flowcharts, mind maps, infographics, even something such as flashcards can all be considered to be visual learning tools or aids. Additionally, using color coding. So maybe you're the kind of student that likes to have lots of highlighters and you like to go through when you're reading your notes and highlight those key points in different colors. When you're reading an article, perhaps you're highlighting different sections in different colors that you can refer and understand, okay, this green means this, blue means this. And then also a visual learner is someone that maybe likes to watch educational videos. So finding videos that help to explain concepts visually. Maybe after your lecture, you go to an external online source and you watch a video and you find seeing it really helps to re-solidify those concepts in your mind. So these are all what we would call the visual learners or visual learning skills. So the next one is an auditory learner. And auditory, so we think hearing, so someone maybe that likes to listen to recorded lectures. So perhaps your professor posts the lectures on Brightspace afterwards and you love to go back and rewatch those at your own pace, take more notes, and that helps you to reinforce what you learned while you were in class. Additionally, an auditory learner may be someone that really likes to participate in study groups. So maybe you're the kind of learner that likes to talk things aloud with your peers, maybe ask them to quiz you on something or ask them to listen and you talk about things out loud. And you find that that helps to deepen your understanding. Additionally, maybe as an auditory learner, you really like to use different rhymes and songs or pneumatics to help remember key terms. And so all of these, like we said, are auditory learners. So then our final learning style is our kinesthetic learner. So kinesthetic meaning bodily. This is what we think of when we think of hands-on learning. So a kinesthetic learner really likes to maybe use physical objects or experiments to learn concepts. So you're kind of using that hands-on activity. But additionally, it can be doing something like a lot of practice problems. So maybe you find it best when you just sit through and run through a case study or practice problems, and that helps you to reiterate and reinforce your learning. And then also what we would think of is a kinesthetic learner maybe likes to move around while studying. So taking study breaks, even using a standing desk, or some really coordinated folks can walk on a treadmill while they're studying. But all of that kind of helps to really help you maybe stay focused or help you to remember the concepts that you're learning as well. So I kind of laid out all of the three learning styles. So maybe you're wondering, which one am I? Maybe I feel like a visual learner, maybe I feel like an auditory learner. We do have a quiz where you can actually find out which one you align with the best. So you can go to the Student Success Learning Skills and Strategies website and complete the quiz there. You can pause this video for a moment and come back and see which one you were. Okay, so maybe you've completed the quiz, maybe not, and maybe take a second to look at your results. So did you find that you were really one learning style, or were you maybe a mixture of a couple? And what we find is most students are usually a mixture of a couple different learning styles. So we like to say mix it up and combine them. So maybe we want to blend all of those different strategies using our visual aids, our auditory resources, and hands-on activities to kind of have a more holistic and full view of studying and of ourselves as learners. So this can vary from day to day, it can vary from course to course, or even from assessment to assessment. So maybe for one of my courses, I find that having flashcards and having visual devices are really, really important and help me to study for my midterms or exams. And then maybe in another course, it's something where I need to talk it out loud. I need to talk it out with my friends. I need to explain the concepts to them. And it kind of changes depending on what the subject matter is. So try switching up the methods, try seeing what works best for you. And most of all, try and stay flexible. So be open to trying new approaches to find what works best for those different topics. So you never have to feel like you're stuck into one study skill over another. It really is important to just be open and to try maybe building all of these different things together and seeing what works best for you as a learner and student. Okay, so now that you've maybe thought about what type of learner that you are, maybe take a minute to just recall and reflect on, has this shown up for you in the study strategies that you currently have? So maybe take a moment to assess your current methods. So are you really a visual learner? Are you using a lot of auditory learning strategies? And is it working for you? Is it not working for you? And then what we also want to always talk about when we're talking about effective studying or student success at all is to set achievable goals for improvement. So maybe choosing strategies to help enhance your study routines based on all the things that we talked about today. And then finally, I like to always say experiment and adjust. So I'm a science student. I love to always use experimentation, but test out these different methods and adjust based on what works for you. So maybe you already thought that you were always a visual learner and that's what you've always done, and it has been successful. But don't let that feel like you can't try anything else. So maybe you love using your visual aids, etc., but as an experiment, why don't you try some kinesthetic learning skills, some hands-on skills, maybe try some auditory skills, try blending them all together and see if it works for you. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, but it helps you understand yourself more as a student and helps to give you more tools in your toolbox when you're preparing for exams and midterms, etc. Okay, so in conclusion, we've talked about lots of different things today. We've talked about the three main different types of learning styles that we have. We've kind of noticed that most people tend to be a blend of all of them, depending on the different course that they're in, day to day even. But really what we like to come away with this is that understanding your learning style and understanding yourself as a student is like trying to find the best way to cook your favorite meal. So just like you maybe have a recipe that you change a little bit day to day, you add a little more spice, a little less spice, learning the way that you learn best also helps you to do that. So maybe you have a little bit more visual learning one day, a little bit more auditory learning in this course, etc. But it really just helps you to find the best thing for you and the best strategy that helps information to be retained as well as reduce your stress as a student. So, learning and understanding what your learning style isn't just about getting through your exams or your midterms, although we know that that's important. But more so, we want to know that this is about setting yourself up for success in a long-term way that is going to work best for you. So with that, if you want to talk more about learning skills, learning strategies, visual learning, different types of learning, etc., please meet with us at the Student Success Center, meet with your peer coach. We have so much more advice that we can give you. We can work with you to help build the most tailored and individualized skills and strategies for you. So you can always book a one-on-one appointment or attend any of our workshops or events. And thank you so much for listening to this presentation.